Dear friends and loved ones, greetings and salutations. My name is Tom Crane. For those who never saw me before, I hope this doesn't come as a shock. Please don't turn off your computer or run from the room. Just give me time to talk. You might find it kind of interesting. In any case, before I begin, I want to thank Elliot Slavic, my granddaughter's boyfriend, who really helped me set this up to get on YouTube. Without him, I wouldn't have made it. So, Elliot, a big hats off to you. Okay. I hope you find this somewhat interesting, because it's going to take us into different directions. I'm proudly wearing my United Mine Workers cap. This I bought in one of the coal mines in Illinois, where my great-grandfather and grandfather worked. So we're genuine, authentic, blue-collar, hard-working Irish stock. Just as a matter of interest, I want to show you a few artifacts that I picked up on the way. This, in case you've never seen one of these before, let's see if I can get this on camera correctly. Yes, I can. This is a genuine coal miner's lamp. It's a carbide lamp. It's got a hook on the back to go on his cap. See that? Yes. It was manufactured by Autolite, believe it or not. You've heard of Autolite batteries? This is how they got started. In any case, this goes back before they used the safety lamps. But this was carbide. You put your carbide in here, drop some water in, and then it started to give off carbide gas. You used a striker up here, a little flint striker, and that ignited the gas. This was a safety lamp to go into the coal mines. My ancestors on my father's side were proud Irish miners. Here I have a token, if you can see this. Yeah, there's St. Patty, all right. St. Patrick. On this side, we have the inscription of where it's from. Very interesting coin. You see, a coal miner was not paid, you might say, in regular terms. He was issued a token for he bought his goods from the country store. This coin actually dates back to, by the inscription here. Oh, we have a little difficulty reading. We'll find our light. 1789. It's worth a halfpenny. So this was a coal miner's. Along the edge here it reads, Irish Coal Mine Associated, Cobain, 1789, a halfpenny. We dig coal. There you go. A modern day mint of a buckle. We dig coal. We do dig coal. In view of my association with the coal mine industry, that is my grandfather and my great-grandfather, the United Steelworkers of America, I forget his name, many years ago, awarded me honorary membership, United Steelworkers, AFL's CIO, United Steelworkers of America. There we are. United Steelworkers of America. So, in essence, this more or less establishes, like I said, my blue-collar, working-class roots, of which we're very proud of. The second item that I have to show you comes from my mother's side of the family. I hope you can see this in spite of the glare. Issued to Thomas Crane, Thomas J. Crane, Maryland Society, American Sons of the Revolution. That's because of the service my great-grandfather, Johannes Mertz, in other words, John March, served as a Minuteman during the Revolutionary War. This was issued to me July 14, 2003. National Society of the American Revolution certifies that Thomas John Crane is a member of the Maryland Society. So there's my registration. Now, what is all this leading up to? Well, eventually we're going to get around to talking about a couple of books that I've written, in addition to some poetry that I've done. But I think I say I have to establish myself so you know where I'm coming from. Over the course of time, I have written a couple of books, and as somebody once said to me, Tom, that establishes your street cred, your credibility. The street cred extended to my book, Green is the Valley, Blue are the Hills. This book was published in 1986, 283 pages. It's the story of the search for my Irish and Pennsylvania Dutch roots. The artifacts that I've shown you are what this book is about. It was the search, and the certificate that I got from the American Revolution was also part of this search. So this establishes my credibility. I am a published author, there's no doubt about it, but I don't make any money. This book was published by Higginson Book Publishing Company of Salem, Massachusetts. Because it's a print-to-order book, in other words, they're not stocked on shelves, they're not sold in bookstores, but rather, you order one, this costs you $42. I get 10% of the net, in other words, about $1.50 for every book sold. So it's not done on a mass production basis. So that's what I'm saying. You won't get rich as an author. At least I won't. Okay. Now, to go to something else, I eventually wind up talking about this book. It's Pat's Tavern. This is my latest endeavor. This beautiful cover was drawn and designed by my granddaughter, Natalie Schaub. My grandson, Timothy William Robert, did all of the he did all of the printing here. He got it down to on a PDF disc, which I was able to take this to a copy center and have a copy made. The original is in the Library of Congress for copyright reasons. This is 136 pages and it has 30,000 words. But I'm going to stop for a moment and get off of this book here so we could talk about something else, if you don't mind. Let me see if we could pause this for a minute so I can get things together here. Well, maybe not. I'll just go ahead and reach for it. Hope you bear with me. Like I say, that establishes my credibility as a writer or an author. I have been published. Now, with regards to poetry, I also have been published not only nationally, but internationally. I'll read you a couple of poems. This poem here, this picture here, relates to Liam Tasker and his dog Theo. Liam Tasker served with the British Army in Afghanistan. Look at the love shared between the two, between an animal and his dog. Liam Tasker was a bomb retrieval expert in Afghanistan. His dog Theo sniffed out the bombs. They discovered so many bombs to save the British troops. They were awarded all kinds of citations. One day they went out and a sniper shot and killed Liam. Theo witnessed that. As a consequence, Theo had a spasm. He had a fit, and he died. Consequently, Liam Tasker and his dog Theo were sent back to England, where they were buried. In honor of that, I wrote a poem. So, this poem that I wrote, as it relates to Theo, pardon folks, but let me shuffle here a little bit. I hope you bear with me. Try to keep things in straight. Well, I guess I'm not too good on the order of things. I hate to stop the video transmission because then I have to start all over again, downloading and the like. So bear with me. I'm just going to let it run. Okay. So here we are. I finally found it. Thank you for your patience. I hope I didn't use too much of your time up. This is in honor of Liam Tasker and his sniffer dog, Theo. Dear Liam and Theo, we weep for thee, born of the chaos and misery of war. You forged a bond that only death could part. Yours was a love that could only be shared by a master and his dog. And for those of us who understand that love can only be joined by the heart. The sacrifice that you made that others might live will forevermore be a part of life's story. We pray that you will both share in God's eternal glory. Rest you well, Copyright March 2011, Thomas J. Crane. As a result of that poem, I sent a copy to Prince Harry of England, and I received a reply. Here we are, shuffling again. Too bad I don't have an assistant. It'd be nice to have an assistant, but I guess some of these things, you do it alone. All right. I sent a copy to Prince Harry. The reason being, Prince Harry also put his own life on the line. He served in Afghanistan too. And I have a photo of Harry. This is Captain Harry. Captain Harry, promoted to captain. Though of royal blood, he could hide behind his throne. He could put his own life on the line, serving with the other British troops. Consequently, when I sent him the poem, I received this letter back from the palace in England, very authentic. Okay. And it reads, Prince Harry has asked me to thank you for your letter of 27 March and for the copy of your beautiful poem that you so thoughtfully enclosed. It was most kind of you to take the trouble to write as you did. His Royal Highness was touched by your words of support and encouragement, and I am to send his warmest thanks and heartfelt best wishes. Now, in speaking in terms of poetry, I had the honor of having one of my poems read at the memorial that was built in Washington, D.C. This is in front of the Second World War Memorial. My poem was read Veterans Day, November 11th, 2013. And it's on YouTube if you care to check. But this is the poem that was read during the ceremony that took place at the World War II Monument. In honor of the World War II vets and their monument, fallen heroes now lie beneath the soil of many a foreign land, where rows of markers make their stand. A monument erected to bring their memories more close at hand. Many a buddy died to save a vet's tomorrow. Now he lives with such great sorrow. A vet remembers when pals stood at his side. He carries a vision of them that he can never hide. The hell, the horror that they all faced, he knows within his heart they will not be forgotten or disgraced. Though old and withered, the memories that monument holds brings tears to his eyes as he slips through the years. His thoughts of his comrades bring their images ever so near. So it was a very nice honor, and I'm to thank Jim Fisher, who really headed up the ceremony. Jim Fisher is a retired colonel, 22 years in Special Forces, and he chose my poem to read in front of that national monument. Now, let us turn to my book, Pat's Tavern. This is 136 pages, 30,000 words. It's really a history and a story of Woodlawn, a neighborhood that existed on the south side of Chicago. The reason why I call this Pat's Tavern should be very obvious. What takes place in a tavern? Where people of good cheer, they sit and they share stories in history, in poems, whatever it may be. That's what brings them together. Woodlawn was to me like a small town in the city of Chicago, and for practical purposes, it hardly exists as it did once before. Most of its buildings and even the elevated tracks, they've all been torn down. They've been bulldozed over. It looks like a war zone to this day, but this is fond memories that I had. So, strangely enough, one publisher, prospective publisher, characterized it as a memoir. A memoir. Oh, well, in any case, let us turn to this memoir, quote, an introduction to Chicago Woodlawn's neighborhood, the boundary lines, life in Woodlawn at a different day and age. For those people who grow up in the suburbs, you never experienced the big city as I did. That's when the streets, when there was apartment houses, the streets were loaded with kids. The alleys were bustling with peddlers, knife sharpeners, organ grinders with their monkeys, ice trucks, milk trucks, all horse-drawn. A different day and age. So this covers different things here about life there, and then it takes on some of the shenanigans we, as teenagers, did as we grew up. Little tricks that we played around the neighborhood. And then it takes a serious note, too, because like any multicultural city, it does have its good points as well as its bad points. A lot went on within our neighborhood that I recorded here. In addition to that, I pay tribute to my father, also my mother. My mother was very loving. She took care of me through thick and thin. My father, who sprang from the coal fields of Illinois that I just had showed you about, he came to Chicago at an early age, and he learned to be streetwise. But I take nothing away from my father, because I saw him as a giant, a mental giant. This man was a roofer, but at the same time, he took on other things. He was a professional gambler. He began to associate with people that you might look down upon, but at the same time had a moral code. And that's what my father preached. We are hard-working, blue-collar stock, but still we had a moral code that was built within us. The people that he associated with had severe penalty for violating that code. But at the same time, my father instilled it within me to always keep my word, to always keep my trust. And that's what I tried to do throughout my life. If this is a memoir, it's a tribute. But in any case, dear people, here's what I'm leading up to. I would like to have this book published. Well, people who are not writers or authors have no idea what it is to try to get published. Oh, why don't you self-publish it? Huh. there are a million scams waiting out there for the prospective self-publisher. Look on the web if you don't believe me. Just type in there self-publishers -complaints, and then you'll see the people who try to get published through a self-publisher and read the horror stories. Secondly, another one is ebooks. Oh, go on to ebooks. Same thing. You go through a multifaceted contract, you hardly realize anything from it. And if you don't believe me, go on the web, look up ebooks for publications. Now, another way to do it is to have books bound and printed if you can afford it. And then you sell them yourself. You try to make your money back. So here's what I'm requesting. Now, for those of you who don't know, my grandson created a disc, a CD disc. That's how this book was printed. It was also downloaded on the World Wide Web. You can read that book free of charge. Likewise, you can read this book free of charge. I don't make any money. For this book is posted on the web on a site called Feathered at Home. Feathered, F-E-T-H-A-R-D, is a town in Ireland. This book can be read free. Just dial up Feathered, F-E-T-H-A-R-D, .com/crane, C-R-A-N-E. That's all you do. When you get to that site, it's downloaded, and you can read it on the web for free. There's been so much free stuff given away. All of these poems and the like are on the web. Likewise, I should mention this. For those of you who do not know me, my story is written up in the University of Chicago Maroon. My story, my life story, by Mr. Michael Lipkin, who at the time was senior editor of the Maroon. He was also a law student. You can read about my life in Woodlawn under the title, type in The Kid from Woodlawn. That's me. I'm the kid from Woodlawn. There I am in the backyard. He came out and did about a 4 or 5 hour interview. And you can read my story in the Chicago Tribune. Very prestigious newspaper because it originates at the University of Chicago. Now, getting back to this, I, as an author, and not a rich one, would like to derive something from my efforts. I have scoured everywhere to get a publisher, but you know how you can help? I do not get involved in it, but anybody that's involved with social networking, whether it be Flickr or the other big one, MySpace, I believe it is, please circulate the word. If publishers find out that the public is clamoring for a book, it might bring their attention to the fact. So if you were to go on some of the social networkings and say, publish Tom Crane's book, Pat's Tavern, that's all there is to it. Start up a drumbeat across the country, across America. You would do yourself a service because then you could buy a published copy, whatever the price may be. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it will be. But kindly do me that favor. Just pass this YouTube video along to your friends and have it spiral off. As you can see, I'm not a person of fame. of wealth that I could go out there and have a book published. I'm just a blue-collar descendant. That's all. So I'm just asking you to help. So I hope I didn't scare you away with a plea for your help. But be it as it may, I guess I've done what I could. And I apologize if you think you've been led into a infomercial, as they call it. I'm sorry. But it would help the old guy. I'm pushing 82. I've been around a while. And as you can see, I'm not in any great castle here. This is my home. This is where I work. It might help. Goodbye, farewell, have fun, and take care.